Call the regular meeting of the Board of Education for School District number 40 at 6 p.m. on Monday, June 27th at the Coolidge Professional Development Center room. Call it to order. May I have a roll call, please?
Audrey Adamson, Justin Anderson,
Present.
Chet DeSmet,
Here.
Kate Schaefer,
Here.
Maria S. Trigueros,
Here.
Andrew Ware,
Here.
Aaron Waldron Smith.
Okay. We'll do Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
The board members that are present to take a second to look over our board norms and just refresh our memories. I have a motion to make a motion to approve the minutes of the Board of Education from the open session, from the regular board meeting on May 23rd, the closed session of the regular board meeting on May 23rd, the open session of the special board meeting on May 31st, and the closed session of the special board meeting on May 31st.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, we'll file this. And we do have one public comment from Mrs. Brittany Berhenke. Just want to step up there. You do have 5 minutes and the board will not make comment.
My name is Brittany Berhenke, and I'm here to talk about my 7-year-old son Elijah and the use of seclusion veiled as a cool down time or sensory break at his school, Hamilton Elementary. Elijah is autistic and ADHD and highly intelligent. Administrators at Hamilton have known about Elijah's disability since September 2021. On April 4th, Elijah came home from school with a large bruise and lump on his forehead. According to his teacher, he was sent to the hallway to focus on computer work. Elijah still to this day insists that he was in trouble for talking in class. In fact, he was so upset that he was isolated in the hallway that he slammed his head on his desk repeatedly. Although being sent to the hallway may seem like a minor punishment, a child with a neurological disability may not interpret it that way. This unfortunately wasn't the last time Elijah felt humiliated or secluded while attending first grade at Hamilton. On May 19th, Elijah came home from school with another bruise on his head. Elijah was threatened with a referral and made to go sit at his desk while the rest of the class sat on the carpet for their lesson. It was here at his desk with his teacher's back towards him that he punched himself in the head repeatedly. This was also the day that I learned that Elijah's desk had been moved a month or more ago to face a corner by a window with his back to his classmates. I was never notified of any behavior that warranted this treatment. In fact, I've been assured by no less than 4 staff members that Elijah had been making improvements at school despite the severe decline in his mental health and behavior at home. Several staff members had to have been aware of this as they had been recently doing observations of Elijah for an IEP evaluation. I'm fully aware of the district policies and definitions for restraint, seclusion, and timeouts. Moline School District's common questions on the definition document say, is the use of a separate, quiet environment allowed for a student considered a timeout or isolated timeout? The answer is no. Teacher-initiated sensory breaks do not meet the definition of timeout. This would include students using a safe space in a classroom, a student taking a break in the hallway, etc. According to the Illinois State Board of Education, timeout may be used only when the student's behavior presents an imminent danger of serious physical harm to the student or others. Based on these policies, neither of these incidents would officially be considered timeout or seclusion, but they also can't be considered a sensory break in a safe space either. By dictionary definition, Elijah was secluded. He was moved away from others, left alone and unsupervised both times once by the teacher's own admission. Leaving a child with neurological differences alone is not safe, it's traumatizing. United States Department of Education Office for Civil Rights says the use of restraint or seclusion has a traumatic impact on a student with a disability. The traumatizing effect can manifest itself in new behaviors. Twice, my 7-year-old son intentionally harmed himself. He began picking his fingers obsessively, and he was having nightmares about school. These are all behaviors that manifested after April 1st, 2022. So my question for you to consider, although I know you want to answer, what exactly would this type of treatment be called, and how can you ensure that students, especially those with disabilities, aren't treated this way in the future?
We have added an addendum to the consent agenda. That was all forwarded to all of you. So it's a recommended motion that the Board of Education approve the actions contained in the consent agenda items AA and QQ and addendum item RR.
Second.
You know what it is? Do we have any comment? Okay. Do we have
Say,
any
can you
conversation?
say the first part? The A,
AA through QQ.
okay,
Or A, I'm sorry, A through QQ. My apologies.
okay,
So A through QQ
yes,
and then RR.
oh, got it.
My apologies. I did say AA, did I not? Do we have any other discussion on that?
You know, I heard it.
We had a second, yes. So can I have a roll call, please?
Chet DeSmet,
Aye.
Maria Estragaros,
Aye.
Andrew Ware,
Aye.
Justin Anderson,
Aye.
Kate Schaefer,
Aye. Okay. So we have a resolution to approve the tentative budget for public display.
You want to see it first?
Yes, sir, please.
Okay, this is typical of what we've seen numerous times. We have an experienced board, so I won't go over everything. There's a few things that I will highlight, and then we'll put it on the website for the public display for 30 days. And that's pretty much the agenda we'll be going over. Revenue assumption, expenditures, and the overall. The timeline is 30 days we have to be on public display. It's been on public display since Friday because there's only 28 days between this and the July board meeting. And then we will submit it to ISB by the required statutory time. The budget cycle is we set the tax levy, that's the first thing. And then we decide if there's any risks, and we set staffing, and that's happening in the spring. And then that really defines most of the budget. And if we need to amend it, we will. You can see our enrollment over time is pretty much stabilized. The free and reduced is a little unusual because really the last 2 years, because of COVID and the USDA giving all free meals, there's really been no reason for anybody to ask for a reduced. So the last 2 years, you're seeing a downward trend, 2.5 years really. And that's just because nobody's doing reduced because it doesn't help waive any fees or anything. So typically it's about 6% reduced. So if you added that on, we'd be about 54%. Local revenue assumptions, we're in very good situation, the economy. We've been talking about this a lot with the state, the local, and the federal money has been very, very positive. The expenditures, as we anticipate, we still have 35 new FTEs that we hired last year with a commitment for 2 years. And then we're going to roll them into retirements. And then hopefully we'll be able to find a position for everybody for next year. And then purchase services, materials, and supplies, they really all increased because of COVID and for Title I, because we didn't really capture everything we wanted in the last year's budget. So it's artificially high this year. Capital is down because we expended a few $1 million last year on the finalizing of the HVAC at the high school. And then we have 30 days of expenditures on the 3 elementary projects that are being finalized by the end of this month. This is just the source of revenues. Federal is overstated because of CARES. You got about 24 million, $25 million we got out of CARES 1, 2, and 3. And this budget represents about 17 million of that. These are revenues by source. Again, you'll see federal funds are overstated compared to historical amounts, but that's how we're air conditioning a lot of the buildings this summer, and also 35 teachers for learning loss. Local revenue, the property tax increase, we already did that. The corporate property replacement tax, it skyrocketed for this year. It almost doubled. And it's just based on a formula of a historical rate. They don't give you any justification why it increased. So we didn't take the whole amount and assume growth for next year. We actually took a little bit of conservative avenue for that. Interest, it'll seem flat, and that'll seem unusual because interest rates are going up. But our last year, i.e. this year here, we over projected what revenue would do. So it's held flat, but we'll get more money than last year. Yes.
Before we leave this slide, I just want to make sure I understood something right. Earlier, you mentioned the tax levies, the EAV increase that we already covered. That was an increase of the value and therefore the receipts,
Yes,
but not our portion of their tax rate.
correct. The rate went flat, but the revenue increased because people's home values and corporate businesses went up. Yes. Bond sales, we have none. If we talk about the state we got to worry about. We're going to fall from one tier to a next tier, and that might jeopardize future income because it's based on the healthiness. And the more money we're getting from the state, at some point we're going to go from a tier 3 to a tier 2, which might increase new money to 0 again. So we don't know when that's going to happen. So that's something on the horizon you have to look at. State grants, really the same as last year. Federal grants, same as last year, basically. Expenditure, staffing increase, obviously when you have 35 more teachers, you're going to have increases along with the salary schedule. So that's something we have to look at for in the future. Purchase services, I already talked a little bit about that. Increases, supplies increases, and capital outlay is decreasing. These are expenditures by type. Obviously, we spend most of our money on people, so that's the biggest slice. We have expenditures by fund. We're in the education business, so therefore education is the biggest expenditure by funds. TRS is just what I report all the time, just as a bookkeeping type of thing. Capital projects, now we've heard a lot about these, so this is nothing new. We got the Aspire that's coming along nicely. Maybe later this year, we'll set up maybe a night on a Wednesday night and a Thursday night to set up an open house for you later in the month. And if you can make it, you can. If you can't, that's no problem. You can see it at a later date. But we have the HVAC at Wilson. We have, that was an emergency repair, if you recall. That's going well and on time. The elementary schools HVACs, folks, this is challenging. This is really, really challenging. Every day it's a different one of those 3 buildings. And you saw where we had to add just from last Thursday to Friday, we had to add that $20,000 additional project that you approved for the ducts that were found encased in concrete below Logan that Mid-America didn't even know about. So it's challenging. I don't even want to say will be successful or not yet. So let's just go on. LED lighting, that should be a D, not an S. LED lighting upgrades, they're still going on. And then upcoming in the future, next summer really, we'll have roofing at Wilson, the high school, and Horace Mann. Horace Mann's still one of our buildings, so we still have to maintain it for the lease. Here's a lot of numbers here, but the big thing you have to just worry about is we're right about break even on the education fund, and that's really what you want to be. We're to $326,000 based on all the projections and estimates. We'll probably be in good shape for another fiscal year. The other thing I want to show you is this, just the projected revenues in Expenditures, just to show you that we're close, but we're not always there. So my projection is we'll be very close again with this budget. This is the only one I really want to concentrate. It's a goofy slide, but it's a good slide. If you look on the left here, this left is utility costs by year. Okay, so that's the line, utility costs per year. This is the amount of square footage in our district that's been air conditioned. So you can see we're gradually going up. You know, we started the HVAC at the high school, and we started the BPAC before we did the HVAC at the high school. So we have a BPAC increase here, because we had new square footage and we increased the whole 68,000 square feet that we had. And then we started phasing in the other parts of the building at the high school. The high school is 400,000 square feet. It's all air conditioned now. So that's gonna cost some money, folks. And then we're gonna air condition 3 elementaries this year and 3 elementaries next year. So you could see this really only dipped because of COVID. We didn't have kids in our building for 3 months. So you're seeing a very, very increasing rate. And that's not even talking about the inflation costs associated with gas, heat, and water and sewer. So this is something we have to worry about in the future. We have known about this a while. So we've been taking budget cuts and stuff to try to contain our costs. We also have been doing new boilers and LED lighting to offset some of those costs. But you can't air condition 400 square feet at the high school and not expect costs to go up. So we have taken some of the EFAB money, 3%, and put it in the O&M to align there. So we'll stay healthy as a whole entity. But you can't increase that much square footage on HVAC. And don't forget, even when the kids aren't in the building, Hamilton is still air conditioned today. Nobody per se is in there. I know summer school is, but I'm saying you're still maintaining it at a comfortable, not a 72 degree, but you're not letting the heat just, run wild. So just wanted to show you that's something that has to be in our back of our minds moving forward. We might have to think about, and after this all stabilizes in 4 or 5 years, to see where we're at. That's the most interesting thing I had today. The rest, we're all good. I mean, really, we should enjoy the positive financial situation because it's going to turn real quick here. So we're in good shape. We're in good shape for the future. We got a lot of construction going on, and I think we're okay. Any questions?
Thank you. Okay, so it's a recommended motion that the Board of Education approve placing the 2022-2023 school district budget on display for public inspection and publishing the notice of public hearing on July 25th, 2022 at 6 p.m. as presented and as listed in attachment 32.
So moved.
Second.
Member roll call, please.
Maria S. Trigueros.
Aye.
Andrew Wayer.
Aye.
Justin Anderson.
Aye.
Chet DeSmet.
Aye.
Kate Schaefer.
Aye. Okay, we have approval of consolidated district plan. It's a recommended motion that the Board of Education approve the district's consolidated district plan for the 2022-2023 school year as required by ISB.
Second.
Can I have a roll call?
Andrew Wayer.
Aye.
Justin Anderson.
Aye.
Chet DeSmet.
Aye.
Maria S. Trigueros.
Aye.
Kate Schaefer.
Aye. Approval, it's a recommended motion that the Board of Education approve the corporate agreement between St. Ambrose University and the Moline Coal Valley School District number 40 for the 2022-2023 academic year.
So moved.
Second.
We have a roll, do we have any discussion? Sorry. We have a roll call.
Justin Anderson.
Aye.
Chet DeSmet,
Aye.
Maria S. Trigueros,
Aye.
Andrew Ware,
Aye.
Kate Schaefer,
Aye. Number 9, recommended motion that the Board of Education approve the memorandum of understanding between Robert Young Center for Community Health, Mental Health and Moline-Cole Valley School District number 40 for the 2022-2023 school year.
So moved.
Second.
Do we have any discussion? Roll call, please.
Chet DeSmet,
Aye.
Maria S. Trigueros,
Aye.
Andrew Ware,
Aye.
Justin Anderson,
Aye.
Kate Schaefer,
Aye. Number 10, the recommended motion that the Board of Education approve the memorandum of understanding between the Boys and Girls Club and the Moline-Cole Valley School District number 40 for the 2022-2023 school year.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion? Have a roll call, please.
Maria S. Trigueros,
Aye.
Andrew Ware,
Aye.
Justin Anderson,
Aye.
Chet DeSmet,
Aye.
Kate Schaefer,
Aye. 11, the recommended motion that the Board of Education approve the memorandum of understanding between the Family Resources and the Moline-Cole Valley School District number 40 for the 2022-2023 school year.
So moved.
Second.
Good discussion. Roll call, please.
Andrew Ware,
Aye.
Justin Anderson,
Aye.
Chet DeSmet,
Aye.
Maria S. Trigueros,
Aye.
Kate Schaefer,
Aye. It's a recommended motion that the Board of Education approve the memorandum of understanding between the Center for Youth and Family Solutions and the Moline-Cole Valley School District number 40 for the 2022-2023 school year.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion? Roll call, please.
Justin Anderson,
Aye.
Chet DeSmet,
Aye.
Maria S. Trigueros,
Aye.
Andrew Ware,
Aye.
Kate Schaefer,
Aye. The recommended motion that the Board of Education approve the memorandum of understanding between Project Now Head Start and the Moline-Cole Valley School District number 40 for the 2022-2023 school year.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion? Roll call, please.
Chet DeSmet,
Aye.
Maria S. Trigueros,
Aye.
Andrew Ware,
Aye.
Justin Anderson,
Aye.
Kate Schaefer,
Aye. Recommended motion that the Board of Education approve the ISBE required Moline-Cole Valley School District number 40 PRTO reduction plan.
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Discussion? Roll call, please.
Maria S. Trigueros,
Aye.
Andrew Ware,
Aye.
Justin Anderson,
Aye.
Chet DeSmet,
Aye.
Kate Schaefer,
Aye. Okay, recommended motion that the Board of Education approve the purchase of the property located at 1408 10th Street, Moline, Illinois, for the purchase price of its appraised value of $97,000 plus closing costs with the intent to demolish the property, that the Board of Education further authorizes and directs Dave McDermott, CFO, to execute all documents and do all things necessary to effectuate the purchase of the property upon terms that he and the superintendent deem acceptable.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion? Roll call, please.
Andrew Ware,
Aye.
Justin Anderson,
Aye.
Chet DeSmet,
Aye.
Maria S. Trigueros,
Aye.
Kate Schaefer,
Aye. We have our cheat sheet, should we need it for the next year? It's a recommended motion that the Board of Education accept for first reading the revised Board of Education Policy 230, public participation at school board meetings and petitions to the board as presented.
I would like to waive the second reading and allow this reading to stand for both the first and second reading.
You have a second?
Second.
Discussion? Roll call, please.
Justin Anderson,
Aye.
Chet DeSmet,
Aye.
Maria S. Trigueros,
Aye.
Andrew Ware,
Aye.
Kate Schaefer,
Aye. Recommended motion that the Board of Education accept for first reading the revised Board of Education Policy 370, succession of authority, and 270, administering medicine to students as presented.
I would like to waive the second reading and allow this reading to stand for both the first and second reading.
Second.
Do we have a discussion? Roll call, please.
Chet DeSmet,
Aye.
Maria S. Trigueros,
Aye.
Andrew Ware,
Aye.
Justin Anderson.
Aye.
Kate Schaefer,
Aye. The recommended motion that the Board of Education accept for first reading the revised Board of Education policies for section 670, teaching about religions, 680, teaching about controversial issues, 6140, education of homeless children, 6290, homework, and 6330, achievement and awards.
I would like to waive the second reading and allow this reading to stand for both the first and second reading.
Second.
Good discussion. Roll call, please.
Maria S. Trigueros,
Aye.
Andrew Ware,
Aye.
Justin Anderson.
Aye.
Chet DeSmet,
Aye.
Kate Schaefer,
Aye. It's a recommended motion that the Board of Education accept for the first reading the revised Board of Education policy for section 715, student and family privacy rights as presented.
I would like to waive the second reading and allow this reading to stand for both the first and second reading.
Second.
It's okay, discussion. Roll call, please.
Andrew Ware,
Aye.
Justin Anderson.
Aye.
Chet DeSmet,
Aye.
Maria S. Trigueros,
Aye.
Kate Schaefer,
Aye. Okay, last one. Recommended motion that the Board of Education accept for the first reading the revised Board of Education policy for section 7285, anaphylactic prevention, response, and management program as presented.
I would like to waive the second reading and allow this reading to stand for both the first and second reading.
Second.
Discussion? May I have a roll call, please?
Justin Anderson.
Aye.
Chet DeSmet,
Aye.
Maria S. Trigueros,
Aye.
Andrew Ware,
Aye.
Kate Schaefer,
Aye. So we are to reports and open discussions. Dr. Savage, do you have a report for us today?
Good evening, everyone. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Very good. I think I will spare the board a report over Zoom and provide a more detailed report in July, if that's okay.
That's all right. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. McDermott.
I won't spare the board. Financials were all right, but just as you approved a house purchase near one of our buildings that we might be trying to acquire land, I have conversation ongoing right now that I might need a special board meeting before the end of July. The next one scheduled because there's one that has some interest that to move it faster than normal, just because they already bought a house. So I might be reaching out for a special board meeting just on that, if you guys are okay with that.
Is it contingent to this?
No,
Maybe?
no.
Okay.
No, it's just when you buy one and people hear of it, sometimes it spurs interest.
Okay.
Gotcha. Great.
Continue.
Did anyone,
Is it?
do you have anyone have anything they needed to discuss? Okay. So at this point, I need a motion to adjourn.
So move.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you, everyone.
Come on, Peter.